This is the West Virginia Capitol Report. Funding for the West Virginia Capitol Report is brought to you by Mark A. Hunt and Associates and by the AFL-CIO of West Virginia.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Capitol Report. I'm Bill Laird, along with co-host David Perry, and we have a great show lined up today. A good guest, a fellow we've known forever, I believe, a good friend of everybody in the state of West Virginia, the Honorable Joe Manchin, United States Senator. And Senator, so good to see you and appreciate you joining us on the Capitol.
Bill, it's always good to be with you and Dave.
Yeah,
and all of our friends all over West Virginia, especially in southern West Virginia.
Absolutely. Well, again, I know you're busy, but taking the time to sit down and talk to us. A lot of issues out there on people's minds, but we really want to focus today on something that truly has an impact and effect on everybody in West Virginia, and that relates to pre-existing conditions, health care. Boy, what an important topic, something impacting and affecting families throughout the state of West Virginia.
Bill, let me just say that health care is something that everybody needs to be able to have access to affordable health care. The Affordable Care Act, which was passed in 2009 in Congress, I was still a governor at that time, and I had concerns about that legislation. But they were taking the position that if you have a pre-existing condition, the insurance company should not be in control of saying, I'm sorry, Bill, you're just too sick. We're not going to take a chance on you. Or if we do, this is the price which you can't afford. So you are one illness away from total financial bankruptcy. And they said that's wrong. So a lot of the things were good in it, but there's a lot that needs to be repaired. We've been trying to fix it. My Republican colleagues and friends, and I mean this sincerely, for some reason, they think it's a political promise, they have to repeal it. And I've always said this, if you're going to repeal it, that means you're going to do away with it. What are you going to put in its place? You can't go back to what we had, which was putting people on the brink of financial ruination. Nothing has come up. So I said, let's fix what we got. And we've been trying to work through it. As I'm speaking to you today, Patrick Morrisey, our Attorney General for the state of West Virginia, has entered in with about 20 other Attorney Generals into a lawsuit in the state of Texas that basically challenges the constitutionality. Should insurance companies be mandated to sell you and to make sure it's available? They can't discriminate just because you have diabetes, hypertension, you might have had cancer in your life, but you're cancer-free, but that was a pre-existing condition. It might come back. Or, I'm sorry, Bill, you're too sick for us to cover you, so you have to do with it yourself. And who knows what's going to happen, maybe death. That's just not who we are as a people. So I have said, I've got letters from all over the state, examples of what it's going to do to ruin their lives. It leaves them in total jeopardy. But I've just, we've come out with something, just say stopmorrissey.com. Just get on the internet. Go into that. Let us know how, and let us hear your story. He needs to know who we are as West Virginians. And here's the thing, of 1,800,000 people, Dave, 800,000 people have been diagnosed with a pre-existing condition. It touches almost everybody's lives. And as you get older, an older population base that we have, at one time or another in your life, you might have had something that now can be considered pre-existing condition. Let's say you had a child born with a heart defect. That's going to change your whole ability to buy insurance and cover that. You had a child born with Down syndrome. Any of these things here. It's just not who we are as West Virginians or the people that have a heart and soul for great people. And we've just been fighting it. We think it's wrong, and he needs to own up to it, say, I made a mistake, and get off of this lawsuit.
No doubt about that.
Senator, you said the lawsuit, you talked about Patrick Morrisey and joining in that lawsuit. Can you tell us a little bit about that lawsuit and how it affects pre-existing conditions?
What the lawsuit would say, they're going to, first of all, 56 times there's been a vote in Congress to repeal the entire Affordable Care Act or Obamacare or whatever they want to call it. We'll take the names off of it. Let's look at the content. What we did was protect senior citizens from paying higher prices if they were buying out in the market, Because before that, you could be charged by your age. And age, they could charge you 5 times more than they would a younger person. We put a cap on that so they just can't exorbitantly charge. Also, the donut hole's been filled, and we have seniors now that are getting one time a year they can have screenings to see what their health conditions are without any copayment from Medicare. And then what we did is making sure that before the insurance companies can say, I'm sorry, you've used all your coverage, and you're still sick and in need of care? Well, what do I do now? Do I die? I'm too sick to live? What is it? That stopped them from doing that, insurance companies. They stopped insurance companies during the Affordable Care Act from saying that, hey, you had a pre-existing condition. You had a valve or you had a stent put in. You have a pre-existing condition with a heart condition now. They can either say, hey, Dave, this is your new cost of your premium. You say, I can't afford that. Or they're going to say, David, I'm sorry. Even if you're the wealthiest man in West Virginia, we're not going to sell it to you because you're too much a risk. The Affordable Care Act prevented them from doing it. His lawsuit would undo all that and put it back into the hands of the insurance companies, because they're saying you cannot mandate the insurance companies to offer insurance to you because you have pre-existing conditions. They ought to have the ability to not offer you insurance. We're saying that is not right, and it's not who we are as a people. And we've got letters, we're hearing letters from all over the state. Last week I brought clergy, all the clergy from all over different denominations to Clarksburg, West Virginia, Bridgeport, and we had a meeting. This is not political. It wasn't Democrat or Republican, and it shouldn't be. Health care, if you're sick, health care doesn't, one disease doesn't attack you because of your political affiliation. If you're sick, you're sick. And if you need care, you need care. It shouldn't be based on what political party you are. They came together as a bunch of clergy who are responsible for their congregation. We started talking to them, and they said, my goodness, here, Derek Biondi, United Methodist pastor of Mount Juliet, he says, I know that many of my church members struggle with diabetes, and they make the right choices. This is something they struggle with every day, and if this is something that could get them kicked off their insurance, it would affect them personally and do harm to them. Then we have Bob from Bridgeport. He called in. He said, I just want to go on record. He said, I just finished my 207th round of chemo. It would be a death sentence if pre-existing conditions weren't covered, because they will not cover him. Wow. Now, I don't know how Pat Morrissey can justify what he's done, where he comes from, doesn't know who we are as West Virginians. But this is absolutely unconscionable to go in this direction. And on top of that, to add insult to injury, be one of the petitioners. He joined in with this hardcore group of attorney generals around the country. Says, listen, we think insurance companies should make decisions.
The thing that I guess amazes me, I've seen survey research. I think 70% plus people support the pre-existing portion of the Affordable Care Act. Now, if you get into individual mandates
Sure.
and those types of things, it gets maybe a little bit more of a debate. But there just seems to be such broad-based.
Let me give you the news. It says 89%.
89%.
So that means almost 9 of every 10 West Virginians, Republicans, Democrat, Mountain Party, no party affiliation, whatever it may be. Hey, by the grace of God, it could be me. I might have something wrong now. I'm not going to be able to buy insurance. Yeah. I can't cover my family. Right. I get sick again. We lose everything.
Yeah. Well, but with that overwhelming consensus of the need to retain that very popular provision of the Affordable Care Act, and again, I was reading, I think over 90,000 children in West Virginia have pre-existing conditions, and but with that overwhelming public support and sentiment for the need for those protections, how do you explain Attorney General Patrick Morrissey's intervention? It's certainly not in the best interests of families.
Well, he just doesn't know who we are as West Virginians. He's not a West Virginian, doesn't know West Virginia. If you grew up where all three of us have grown up, little coal camps, coal towns, okay, real people, working people, go to work every day, struggle, fight like the Dickens to survive. And then all of a sudden they get an onslaught of diabetes. They never saw it coming. It wasn't in their family. But whatever caused it, they have it. They go and try to get insurance or buy a private insurance. and they're going to say, I'm sorry, we're not going to sell it to you. Or, hey, your rate went up double. I can't afford double. You know what it does to hardship there. You know what's a shame? I tell my friends who keep voting we're going to get rid of it. We made a political promise. We're going to repeal Obamacare. Forget the name Obamacare. Forget Trump care. Health care. You're going to change health care. If you're going to change health care, can't you at least try to teach people how to use it? Almost 200,000 West Virginians got health care for the first time. For the first time. People that had mental illness, people that have addictions, we're treating them. We never treated them before. What we didn't do, Dave, is we gave them a health care card, and this is what was fault with the Affordable Care Act. We never said, okay, you're going to be now managed of how you just can't go to the emergency room like you used to go. You're going to have to go to doctors. We're going to have someone as a gatekeeper managing you, shepherding you through to get you healthy on a healthy lifestyle. Why can't we spend a little time trying to teach people and then use the carrot and stick? They just want to say, okay, we're throwing it out. It's over. And they just give up on people. And we've never given up on West Virginians. I've got a chance now, and on top of this, what they don't know is going to happen. They repeal the Affordable Care Act. They repeal that. Every community hospital, every rural clinic is going to be in jeopardy of being financially in ruins. They can't stay open. Yeah. And you all have been in the legislature with me. When I was governor, we were all working together, Democrats and Republicans. You know what would happen at the end of the year? They don't even know that. Every hospital in the state of West Virginia would come to me after you all, God bless you all, helped me so much as far as in the legislature. They would come to me and say, hey, Governor, we gave $12 million of charity care away. We couldn't turn people away. They came to our emergency room. We can't keep our doors open unless we can help, unless you can help us. You all gave me the disproportionate share, the dish payments. We were paying,
yep,
but we weren't helping anybody.
Right.
And so you want to go back to that? That's not who we are.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
I want to fix it, and I just hope that we can stop Morrissey from doing this destructive. And just, it'd be something if he says, I support. He jumped onto the lawsuit, which says, oh, I really believe it. I really want to put the hammer on West Virginia.
Right.
And that's what. So, hey, that's it. StopMorrissey.com. Let's stop him dead in his tracks. Stop him dead in his tracks.
Yep.
Because that has to stop.
Yeah.
I know you alluded to the fact that cancer was one of those pre-existing conditions. I'm sure there are other conditions that are existing that we wouldn't think of. What might they be? You
name it, and I swear to goodness, an insurance company can say, I'm sorry, that is not going to be covered under normal. Normal coverage is basically a normal cycle when you have no history in your family, you had no illnesses yourself that could be considered pre-existing. That means it could reoccur. Diabetes, obesity, hypertension, anxiety, mental illness, addiction.
Heart.
Oh, heart disease, my goodness. That, lung, pulmonary, anything. And you're talking about they can rate you based on what illness and how they're going to rate you and what they're going to charge. The law prevents them from doing it today. Now, I voted against all the times they've tried to repeal it because I kept voting to fix it. We have, if you remember, John McCain voted not to repeal the health care. Remember that?
Yep.
Come in that night and went like that. He voted not to repeal it. That means, okay, let's fix it. Lamar Alexander, Patty Murray, 12 Democrats and 12 Republicans sit down the next morning, and every day for 2 to 3 weeks, 8 o'clock, we brought people in from around the country. We had a compromise bill. What people don't understand, 5% of the population in America, we spend over $3 trillion a year in health care. $3 trillion.
Yep.
5% of the people in America that use 50% of the health care dollars. That means 95% of the people are over in this category. We have a reinsurance program now in this bill. Every state will reinsure the highest need. You can't throw them off. You're going to take care of them. They'll be taken care of out of this pool of money that comes from federal and state. The 95% of the people are put into a more, what we would call more of a normal health cycle. That means your rates would go down 20-30% overnight because you're not picking up the 5% that's the highest cost. We're taking care of them. They'd rather just do away with them completely.
Yep.
and act like they're only going to take care of the healthiest people.
Wow.
And that's what we're fighting against.
Of course, you talked about rates going down. Of course, if the Affordable Care Act or parts of it are repealed, what and can
well, let's say that nothing changes.
Anticipate,
yeah.
or if nothing changes.
Well, the tax law they
the
just
price.
passed, Dave. The tax law.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all want tax cuts. I wanted a tax reform too, but my goodness, you don't do it at the jeopardy of so many people in our state. And what happens is, they put repeal the mandate. That means you don't have to offer insurance. That means pre-exist. That's where the lawsuit's coming in.
Mm.
That's why they're piggybacking on that, and we're saying that is absolutely wrong, and it's not what we've intended, and it's still the part of the law. Okay? They say they've repealed it. Well, repealing it and doing irreparable harm to people, the cost is going to be exorbitant. They don't look at it that way. And I don't have an insurance company I know right now that's hurting. They're still all doing pretty darn well. But with that, they don't. It's a moving target. So we've been fighting that and fighting it and fighting it, and we've just got to fix it. And you don't fix it by entering into a lawsuit and suing that you never have to repair. It'll take legislation over again, and you can tell that's very difficult to be done in Washington. We can't agree on what time of day it is, or if it's a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. Yeah.
Right. Let me ask this, Senator, because again, I think this is important. You know, people out there watching this program, you know, sometimes you're directly affected by what occurs in Washington, maybe sometimes not so much. But anytime you affect 800,000 West Virginians with pre-existing conditions, that type of thing, if I'm watching this broadcast, you know, how do I push back?
The pushing back is what we have said. It's very simple. Get on the internet and basically log in, stopmorrissey.com. And log in and give us your conditions. Give us how it's going to affect you. Give us the real life scenario of what you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis and why you want him to stop. We're saying stop Morrissey from basically this lawsuit that's been so onerous and so harmful and hurtful to West Virginia. He has to know that these people are going to basically be irreparably harmed.
Yeah.
They know where they've come from. They know now for the first time they're getting coverage they can afford, and that basically they have a chance to live some kind of a quality of a life. Take that away and they're back in limbo. And as I've said before, even if you can't afford, even if they're going to charge you 2 or 3 times more and you're able to afford it, you're only one serious illness away from total devastation, ruination.
I know that obviously Morrissey has enjoined this suit. How could he believe or how could he think that this would be in the interest of West Virginians?
Well, he'll have to answer that, Dave. He should answer to it. It's a shame. It shouldn't be political at all. If he's doing this because he thinks the hardcore right or there's a group out there that really supports, by God, throw them all off, we don't want insurance at all, that might work in New Jersey. It's not going to work in West Virginia. Mm-hmm. We have people for the first time getting insurance. We have to teach them how to use it. We have people for the first time getting coverage. We have senior citizens getting coverage they never had before. We've got people that have a chance to live a better life, and they never had that before. We can fix this and make it better. And we've got the wealthiest of the wealthiest of the wealthiest. You can talk about the 1%ers. I can talk about the 1/10 of 1%ers and what advantages they have. And we just can't have the disparity that we have going on in our country today. And it can't be driven by politics. All Democrats aren't right and all Democrats aren't wrong. All Republicans aren't right and all Republicans aren't wrong. If they work together for what's good for our state and our country, then we should be on the same team, which is Team America.
Right.
You know, the rest of it is the Republicans will bring one point of view, the Democrats bring another, and you know what, in Charleston, we always try to come together. Okay, does this make sense? Can you go home and explain it? If you can go home and explain it, you can usually vote for it.
Yep.
I don't know how he can explain this in West Virginia.
And you've always said we'll try it. If it doesn't work, we'll
Fix
come
it.
back and fix it.
That's
We
right.
don't, the legislation, we don't come in every year because we get everything right. We come back because we're trying to improve. If it doesn't work, we fix it. If it's not fixable, then do away with it. This is fixable. Healthcare is fixable in America. It's fixable in West Virginia. It's not fixable if Patrick Morrissey brings a lawsuit that prevents people from getting coverage and it allows insurance companies to be making decisions that the law prevents them from making now, which is saying, sorry, Bill, too sick. Yeah. Sorry, your wife had a pre-existing condition. She had cancer 20 years ago. God bless her, she's cancer-free now, but that could be recurring. Not going to cover you.
Yep. It's
just not right.
Serious stuff.
It really is.
Life and death.
These are life and death decisions. They really, truly are. And people, for the first time, see a pathway forward. Mental illness. You know, we have never done anything to treat mental illness. We're doing it for the first time. Addiction, I don't need to tell anybody. There's not a person watching right now that doesn't know somebody in their immediate family, extended family, or close friend that's not been affected by drug abuse, either legal or illegal drug abuse. And these addictions, this is an illness. An illness needs treatment. And we're fighting for treatment centers. We're fighting to be able to take care of your loved ones and get them back in a productive lifestyle. That all goes for naught. That all goes away.
This is the West Virginia Capitol Report. Funding for the West Virginia Capitol Report is brought to you by Mark A. Hunt and Associates and by the AFL-CIO of West Virginia.
Hi everybody, I'm Tom McGee. It's dangerous out there. If you get hurt, shift the odds in your favor. Call Mark Hunt to get your just compensation and compensation for your injury. And if you have any criminal charge or if you get a DUI, be sure to call me at 304-642-6160.
The law firm of Mark Hunt and Associates, specializing in personal injury, DUI, and criminal defense. 304-344-1800.
Dan Hill Construction Company in Glen Ferris has over 33 years of local service. With county, state, and federal and church construction experience, we can design and build any type of project that will suit your needs. Once you select us for your project, we'll supply all the tools, labor, equipment, and materials to complete your project on budget and on time. We're a zero drugs tolerance company with an excellent safety record as a bonded and insured commercial contractor with an outstanding relationship and payment record reputation with all of our subcontractors and suppliers. References available upon request. We are Dan Hill Construction Company, 9033 Midland Trail, Glen Ferris, West Virginia. 304-632-1600, license number WV001196, rated in the best top 50 government contractors in West Virginia.
From under the Gold Dome in Charleston, this is the West Virginia Capitol Report.
You know, Senator, there's an event coming up that I think certainly been done for several years, but an important event with a good, solid purpose and cause. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about something coming up here shortly?
Well, to both of you all, because you've been involved and you've seen it happen, and we're coming again this coming Saturday, June the 30th. It'll be Charleston to Summersville and return. But it's basically, it's a ride for fallen service heroes. This ride here is basically all the proceeds of this ride go to the Gold Star families. Gold Star families is someone in their family that has served, that is gone, has lost their life and gone. And we want to make sure that the family members know that we haven't forgotten the sacrifice they've made and their loved one made. This is the biggest fundraiser we have. And I've said this, the motorcycle riders, I enjoy, love it. There's nothing like it. I can't explain it, and anyone that rides will feel the same as I do. But they're the most generous, most compassionate, most patriotic people I know. They're always looking for a good cause. We had over, Dave, what you said, 200 last year, right?
200 last year. 100
when we first started out, 200. We hope to go over 300 this year. They turn out. It starts at 8 o'clock at Charleston, Harley-Davidson of West Virginia, South Charleston. David DiFilippo and his staff do a wonderful job. So they're welcoming you. Come in at 8 o'clock. Pre-registering starts. If you're already registered before that, fine, but still come down. Be around 8 o'clock. We'll get started and get everybody some coffee and get them on high octane, okay?
Yep.
Get them ready to ride. And then we'll take off. Then we come back at 2:30 to Coonskin, the National Guard Armory. So those who aren't going to ride, those who don't come when we leave, come to Coonskin at 2:30 for the big picnic. you will not find more appreciative people that you make their year to be involved and participate with us. That's at 2:30 to 4:30. So it's a great day, and it's the best feeling that I receive every year, to knowing that I can say we can give something back to the people who made the greatest sacrifice of giving us their loved one who sacrificed for us.
Absolutely.
I understand this also may involve the Huntington Police Department and Charleston Department.
Yeah, David, let me tell you, when you have 200-300 motorcycles, it's tough to keep them all corralled. Now, with that being said, these have been the safest ride because we've had what we call the mounted police. Those are the motorcycle police brigade that we have out of Huntington and Charleston. Both of them have been wonderful. They keep the traffic flowing, they keep us in order, and they keep us safe. So no one has people coming out of side streets. They block them off as we're moving through. And it really is, it's well orchestrated, it's very safe. We've been very blessed to have them helping us.
And
So,
again, upcoming Great Purpose Ride for Fallen Service Heroes.
this Saturday, June the 30th. Come June the 30th, come down starting at Harley-Davidson of West Virginia, South Charleston, come. And then if you can't come and be part of the ride, if you don't have a motorcycle, come at Coonskin, at the Coonskin Park, basically up at the National Guard Armory in Charleston, West Virginia. That starts at 2:30, the picnic. You'll have a great picnic, but you're going to have a good feeling when you leave, seeing all the people you've helped.
It's obvious as a U.S. Senator and the Governor of the state of West Virginia that everything you've always done has been about West Virginians, Joe.
David, I think that's our whole purpose. It's all about West Virginia, still about West Virginia and Washington. But whatever your party affiliation, put politics aside. Don't worry about a Democrat and Republican, all the things you see that you hate on television and everyone's fighting and calling names. We come together as people. We're Americans first. So we're on Team America. We're on Team West Virginia. And this is all about supporting those people that allow us the freedoms to be on Team America and Team West Virginia. And we're going to support those families June the 30th. Please come.
Absolutely. Well, again, Joe, just thank you for joining us here today on the Capitol Report. And to our viewers, again, stopmorrissey.com, a very, very important issue dealing with pre-existing conditions. So thanks for what you do, my friend, and good luck to you, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you all for this great show you bring to the people of West Virginia. I appreciate it.
Okay, my friend.
Thanks, Will.
You bet.
It, David.
You bet.
This is the West Virginia Capitol Report. Funding for the West Virginia Capitol Report is brought to you by Mark A. Hunt and Associates and by the AFL-CIO of West Virginia.
Today's Suddenlink tip, make moving easy. Packing and moving is hard, but Suddenlink can make it a little easier with one simple phone call. When you call Suddenlink, a representative will help you transfer all your services to your new address. Suddenlink will even send a technician to set everything up. One call, one connection, and one bill. Like I said, easy.
Hi everybody, I'm Tom McGee. It's dangerous out there. If you get hurt, shift the odds in your favor. Call Mark Hunt to get your just compensation and compensation for your injury. And if you have any criminal charge or if you get a DUI, be sure to call me at 304-642-6160.
The law firm of Mark Hunt and Associates, specializing in personal injury, DUI, and criminal defense. 304-344-1800.
Dan Hill Construction Company in Glen Ferris has over 33 years of local service. With county, state, and federal and church construction experience, we can design and build any type of project that will suit your needs. Once you select us for your project, we'll supply all the tools, labor, equipment, and materials to complete your project on budget and on time. We're a zero drugs tolerance company with an excellent safety record as a bonded and insured commercial contractor with an outstanding relationship and payment record reputation with all of our subcontractors and suppliers. References available upon request. We are Dan Hill Construction Company, 9033 Midland Trail, Glen Ferris, West Virginia. 304-632-1600, license number WV001196, rated in the best top 50 government contractors in West Virginia.
From under the Gold Dome in Charleston, this is the West Virginia Capitol Report.